Well, that was, it's interesting to see the support that Ernie had among some of the people that obviously hadn't been listening to him for 31 years.
Well, Gary Edwards, the last guy up there, he didn't want to admit to how many years he'd been watching or listening to Ernie, but he looked like he was maybe a non-traditional student and had been listening for a number of years. But you see the younger students there, and I think they feel the same way. And bottom line is that we know Ernie can't go on forever, but as long as he can still do the job and do it with grace and professionalism, why not go in that other direction when he's done?
Do you think there is a chance that, given the public reaction, that the management of the Tigers might decide to reverse their decision?
I hope so, and I stress hope.
That's different than saying you think so.
I didn't say I think so. Sometimes I wonder. Bo is someone who I really respected at Michigan, and what he was able to do and accomplish at the University of Michigan, and the high ideals that he set, moral, ideals that he set there, and I think that was great. One of the things that I feel that he has not carried over yet, and the Tigers as an organization have struggled with of late, and that's loyalty. Here's someone who has been loyal for 31 years. Ernie Harwell has had numerous offers through the years to go elsewhere. Other people have come in with the open checkbook and have made.
But if he's so good, where are those offers today?
He's had several offers since he has been announced as not going back.
The only thing public is that he's going to do commercials for Domino's Pizza.
And that was Ernie coming out and not wanting this to become an ugly situation where the Tigers and Tom Monaghan, owner of the Tigers, was going to be hurt by it. He underestimated, as did Bo and JR, the reaction. And Ernie didn't want the Tigers to be hurt, and so he's gone out and tried to diffuse a little bit, as best he can, the negative reaction.
It's funny if it turns out that the answer to the question, who shot JR, was Ernie Harwell.
Well, the only thing that I think the question is, who shot who in the foot?
Yeah.
And whether it's JR shooting themselves in the foot, or the Tigers shooting JR in the foot, or vice versa, that's the $1 million question right now. But Ernie Harwell has had offers through the years and has stayed. He's shown loyalty, and that's one aspect of business and one aspect of family, which is, people look at the Tigers as kind of a family that has been suspect. They let Lance Parrish go, someone who had put in a lot of years and who, through the collusive dealings of the owners, going against their own contracts that they signed in the mid-'80s, saw Lance Parrish leave and Kirk Gibson leave, and the Tigers really were called into question as to where their loyalty was to their players. They're demanding loyalty, but when the players asked for it in return, the Tigers weren't showing it. And now with Ernie Harwell, when we thought he deserved to have his loyalty shown towards him, the Tigers have not shown any loyalty. It's a double standard. At least it looks like it's a double standard.
Would you take the Harwell decision to be a sign that the Tiger management's going to build a new stadium then? Well, that this may be part of the same process?
Well, I think that the Tiger decision, or the decision that was made by whoever, the Tigers, JR, both entities, was made long before about Ernie Harwell. I mean, I don't think that the stadium has anything to do with it. Ernie's support of the group that is trying to save Tiger Stadium might be tangentially related now, since it might keep the Tigers from going and saying, hey, we've made a mistake, we're going to bring our Ernie back.
But a stadium, it's a lot bigger decision than the broadcaster, because the stadium is much more significant, it's much more expensive. And it seems to me, when I heard Harwell was being bounced, I took that to mean, okay, I mean, they've made the decision quietly, maybe a long time ago, that they're going to build a new stadium, which is obviously very politically complicated, economically complicated. But they look at what has happened to some of the other teams that went out in the suburbs, and they realize, the money's out there. That's where you go. You go to where the people are, and there are more people who can afford to buy tickets out in the suburbs. and that the Harwell thing was just part of the process of building an entire new image for the Tigers.
Well, I think that they need to worry more about building an economic base to build the stadium with, funds to build the stadium with, than to build a new audience right now, because economic experts have said that Monaghan can't afford, based upon his net worth and his ability to secure whatever might be necessary, bonds or to build a new stadium, he can't afford to do it right now. And
I know one thing, John Engler, the new governor, he has been running against the Silverdome for so long. He says he's not even going to, build a new expressway exit. I mean, he's not doing anything to support building some new thing out in the suburbs.
You aren't going to see. I think you're going to see tax dollars in no way, shape, or form go towards the building of a new stadium. I think that Monaghan right now, they've got a major public relations problem, and I don't think that building a new stadium in the next few years is going to happen under the current plan of things. Now with the Palace, you had Bill Davidson and a group that he represented going out and building the Palace. Certainly a different type of stadium, or a different type of arena rather, and not quite as costly as what a baseball stadium is going to be.
But you can't use a baseball stadium for anything else, essentially. You can occasionally get something.
You could use it for football, and right now there's been talk of the Lions not being at the Silverdome much longer in some circles because...
We're still paying for the Silverdome.
Exactly. The Silverdome is operating... They haven't operated, I don't think, in the black in years.
Yeah.
And I think that you're going to see a lot of chess maneuvers over the building of a baseball stadium, and really over the operation of the Tigers in the next 2 or 3 years that we didn't anticipate 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe even a year ago.
Do you think Monaghan, I mean, there's been funny stories about Monaghan. I mean, he's stopping the construction of his mansion because he's having conscience problems, thinking, oh, geez, why am I spending $5 million in the house with all these poor people? And he's kind of, the sort of religious streak in Monaghan's coming out. Do you think he might just back off of this thing and say, heck with it, sell the team to somebody?
I would like that. I really would. And nothing against Tom Monaghan personally, but I just don't like the direction the team has taken since he has bought the team. And Tom Monaghan seems to have a conscience, as you mentioned, that he's wrestling with a little bit right now. He's helping to build a church down in the Caribbean somewhere in or northern part of South America. I'm not sure what country it is. In an impoverished area. I think part of his conscience, in fact maybe a lot of his conscience, has come into play with that. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen. Obviously, I don't have enough contacts that I'm on the pulse of it, day by day. But I hope that something happens, because the Tigers are an organization that's kind of a laughing stock right now, and one that's looked at in a lot of negative ways, not only around Michigan, but also around the country. And I think that people are wondering who's minding the farm right now, because it seems as though at times decisions are being made that don't have any foundation of common sense around them, regardless of how right the decisions might be.
Yeah. It seems like it's almost becoming a soap opera. You look at the Tigers over the last couple of years, and with personalities like Monaghan and Schembechler becoming involved, and I mean, this was a team that they won the World Series just a few years ago.
1984, they were in the playoffs in '87, and now, and just in the last week or so, their general manager Bill LaJoy has left the team, and Bill LaJoy for a number of years had been frustrated. Quietly, word had gotten out that he had been frustrated by upper management tying his hands, figuratively, when it has come to negotiating with the Lance Parishes and the Kirk Gibsons and other people in baseball, free agents. And finally, Bill LaJoy, for reasons he is saying, run around the area of wanting a little quieter a little more behind-the-scenes involvement in baseball, has exited the Tigers family. Part of it is his wife, after a lengthy illness, died last year, and that was, from reports, very, very tough, which is understandable, and he had to wrestle with that. And all the baseball things under trying circumstances, but I think a lot more of it is tied to a frustration that he's had with the Tigers and the management and the different levels of management. Here's a guy who was with the organization for a number of years, loyal to baseball, loyal to the organization, and instead of the president's job being something that he had an opportunity to earn and be named as a new president, here comes Bo Schembechler out of college football.
Yeah.
No ties with baseball, not since he was a player in high school or junior high, getting the president's job.
Well, we started talking about sports as entertainment, and we're finishing with the Tigers as soap opera, which may be part of the unity of the existence. But what we want to deal with now, we're going to go to a new feature on Hometown Magazine, which is On Stage, the listing of the live theater you can go see. So we're part of the whole process. If you haven't seen enough theater watching the Tigers, take a look at some of the coming events that you can see here in the Flint area.